Stop scrolling. I want you to open your banking app right now. Look at the interest rate on your savings account. Does it start with a 0.0? If the answer is yes, you do not have a savings account. You have a bleeding wound, and you are officially a voluntary donor to a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. For 40 years, society taught you to play by the rules. Work hard, pay your taxes, and keep your cash safe in a big national bank like Chase, Wells Fargo, or Bank of America. And your reward for your loyalty? You are currently the victim of the most arrogant, legal heist in modern financial history. It is a system called bank arbitrage. Here is what they are doing to you right now, at this exact second. You give them your money for a fraction of a penny. They
What?
immediately turn around, lend your exact same money to the U.S. government at 5%, and pocket the difference. They are renting your life's work for pennies, subletting it for thousands, and they think you are too mathematically blind to notice. Listen to me very carefully. This briefing is the most urgent piece of financial intelligence you will watch this year, because today we are cutting the parasite off. I am going to show you the exact sniper blueprint to bypass the banking cartel completely. I am going to teach you how to build a state tax-free treasury ladder so you can become your own bank, protect your cash buffer, and force the government to pay you directly. If you want to keep funding your bank's CEO's third vacation home, skip this video. But if you are ready to take your money back, welcome to the resistance, my friend. Let's open up the patient and do an autopsy on the traditional American banking system. Let's look at Gray Guy, for example. Gray Guy is terrified of the stock market. He lived through the 2008 crash. He watched his crypto-obsessed nephew lose everything, so he decides to play it absolutely safe. He keeps $100,000 of his life savings sitting in a standard checking or savings account at a giant national bank. Every morning, Gray Guy logs into his app, sees that six-figure number on the screen, and feels a warm, fuzzy sense of security. He thinks his money is sitting inside a giant, impenetrable steel vault, guarded by lasers and men with shotguns, just waiting for him to need it. Wake up, Gray Guy. There is no vault. Your money isn't there. The absolute second you deposited that $100,000, the bank electronically wired it out the back door. Welcome to the mechanics of bank arbitrage. It is the most brilliant, perfectly legal, and deeply arrogant skimming operation in the history of global capitalism. And you are the willing victim. Let me explain this in terms an eighth grader can understand. Imagine you own a beautiful, fully furnished house. You decide to rent it to a guy in a tailored suit. Let's call him Chad the banker. You agree to let Chad live in your house for the incredibly low price of $1 a month. You feel good because Chad promises to take care of the house and keep it safe. But Chad doesn't live there. The minute you hand Chad the keys, he turns around and lists your exact same house on Airbnb for $5,000 a month. He collects the $5,000 from strangers, hands you your $1, and uses the rest of the profit to buy a yacht. If a real estate agent did that to you, you would sue them for fraud and put them in prison. But when a national bank does it to your life savings, you thank them for the free lollipop in the lobby and the shiny plastic debit card. Let's do the brutal mathematics of 2026. You give the big bank your $100,000. They pay you an annual percentage yield, or APY, of 0.01%. Stop right there. Take out your calculator. 0.01% of $100,000 is exactly $10 a year. $10. You cannot even buy a mediocre sandwich at a fast food drive-thru for $10 today. Meanwhile, the bank takes your $100,000, walks across the street, and lends it to your neighbor for a 7% mortgage. Or they lend it directly to the U.S. government by buying treasury bonds at 5%. So the bank makes $5,000 to $7,000 a year using your exact money. They hand you your $10 sandwich allowance, and they pocket $6,990 of pure risk-free profit. They are monetizing your financial ignorance. You are acting as a zero-interest loan facility for a multi-billion-dollar corporation. But Stewie, you say, my money is safe. It has the FDIC sticker on the door. Is it really safe? Let's talk about the silent assassin known in the financial industry as cash drag. Because while Wall Street is busy subletting your money for thousands of dollars, your money is simultaneously bleeding to death. Safety is a mathematical illusion when the currency itself is melting. Let's assume a highly conservative real-world inflation rate of just 4%. If you keep your $100,000 in that traditional savings account, it earns your pathetic $10. But inflation destroys $4,000 of its purchasing power over the exact same 12 months. Do you see the math? Your net yield isn't zero. Your net yield is negative $3,990. You are paying a nearly 4% annual wealth tax just for the psychological comfort of seeing a bank logo on your smartphone. Fast forward 5 years. You log into your banking app. The screen still says $100,000. Your brain is tricked into thinking you haven't lost a single dime. But when you go to buy a car, pay for a medical emergency, or buy groceries, that money only buys what $80,000 used to buy. 20% of your life's energy, 20% of your labor, just evaporated into thin air. You didn't save money, you literally set it on fire in slow motion. You are suffering from terminal cash drag. The big banks know this. They depend on this. They rely entirely on your financial inertia. They know you are too busy, too tired, or too intimidated by financial jargon to move your money. They count on you believing that the only alternative to their 0.01% scam is gambling your life savings in the stock market. But there is a backdoor. There is a way to cut the bank out of the middle entirely and take the 5% yield directly from the source. It is time to stop being the host organism. It is time to become the bank. Okay, so you finally realize the big bank is skimming your wealth to pay for their marble lobbies. You are angry. Good. Anger is a fantastic financial motivator, but anger without a blueprint is just whining. It is time to get tactical. It is time to execute the escape plan. Level 1 of the escape plan is what I call the Lifejacket. In the financial world, this is known as a high-yield savings account, or HYSA. Operationally, this is the easiest move you will ever make. You take your $100,000 out of the Chase or Bank of America vault, and you electronically transfer it to an online-only bank. We are talking about institutions like Ally, Marcus, SoFi, or Capital One. And no, none of them are paying me to say this. I am a cartoon. I do not accept sponsorships. Why do these online banks pay you 4 to 5% interest instead of 0.01? Are they just generous? No. They pay you more because they are essentially just algorithms. They do not have physical branches on every street corner. They do not have to pay for thousands of tellers, free lollipops, or mahogany desks. Because their overhead is virtually zero, they pass the yield directly to you to attract your capital. And yes, they carry the exact same FDIC insurance as the big banks. Your money is perfectly safe. If you make this one single transfer, your $10 annual sandwich allowance magically transforms into $4,000 or $5,000 a year of passive income, just by clicking your mouse a few times. For the average gray guy, this is a massive victory. He pops the champagne. He thinks he beat the system. But you are not gray guy, you are a sniper. And the sniper knows that the high-yield savings account has a fatal, bleeding flaw: taxes. When you earn $5,000 in a high-yield savings account, the government treats that money as ordinary income. The federal IRS takes their massive cut. And worse, if you live in a high-tax state like California, New York, or New Jersey, the local state government swoops in to take another massive bite. After the tax massacre, your impressive 5% yield is mathematically slashed down to maybe 3%. A life jacket keeps you from drowning, but it doesn't get you to the shore. If we want absolute financial efficiency, we need to upgrade to level 2, the sniper weapon. Enter the United States Treasury bill, the T-bill. When you buy a T-bill, you are bypassing the bank completely. You are taking your cash and lending it directly to Uncle Sam. Now I know exactly what you are thinking. Stewie, the U.S. government is $34 trillion in debt. Why on earth would I lend them my hard-earned money? Because, my friend, the U.S. government owns a magical machine called a printing press. And if the United States Treasury defaults on its debt, the entire global financial system collapses. If that happens, your dollar bills will only be useful for lighting your campfire in the apocalyptic wasteland anyway. So paradoxically, lending to Uncle Sam is mathematically the safest asset on planet Earth. But here is the real magic. Here is the operational loophole that the wealthy use to protect their cash. The interest you earn on a treasury bill is completely 100% exempt from state and local taxes. Let me repeat that. The IRS will take their federal cut, but the greedy politicians in California or New York cannot touch a single penny of your T-bill yield. It is federal law. If you live in a high-tax state, earning 5% on a T-bill is the mathematical equivalent of earning nearly 6% in a regular bank account. This is called the tax equivalent yield, and it is how the 1% constantly stays ahead of the middle class. So how do you actually buy them? Operationally, you have two choices. Option A, you go to treasurydirect.gov. It is the official government website. Warning, the user interface looks like it was coded by a high school student in 1998, and navigating it requires the patience of a saint. But it is direct, and there are absolutely zero fees. Option B, the sniper choice. You open a free brokerage account at Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard. You transfer your cash there, navigate to their fixed income or bonds tab, and you buy newly issued T-bills at auction. No fees, better interface, and all your money is in one place. But wait, a T-bill locks your money up for a specific period of time, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, or 6 months. If your money is locked up, how does it act as a liquid emergency shield? What happens if your roof collapses tomorrow and you need $20,000 in cash immediately? You don't just buy one giant T-bill. You build an architecture. You build a machine that continuously prints liquid cash every single month. In the next section, I am going to show you exactly how to construct the ultimate financial fortress, the T-bill ladder. We have a problem. If you take your entire cash shield, let's say it is $120,000, which covers 2 years of your baseline living expenses, and you lock it all into a single 6-month treasury bill, you are exposed. What happens if, on month 2, your roof caves in during a storm, or you have a sudden medical emergency? Your money is locked inside the federal vault. If you need it immediately, you have to sell that T-bill on the secondary market before it matures, which means you might lose money depending on fluctuating interest rates. A sniper never traps themselves in a corner. A sniper requires absolute liquidity. So we don't build a dam, we build a water wheel. We are going to construct a financial architecture known as the T-bill ladder. This is a perpetual motion machine that generates state tax-free yield, but guarantees that a massive chunk of liquid cash drops directly into your checking account every single week. Here is the exact operational blueprint. Take out a pen. Let's take Gray Guy's $120,000. Instead of firing it all in one shot, we divide his ammunition into 4 equal magazines, 4 chunks of $30,000 each. On week 1, Gray Guy logs into his Fidelity or Schwab account. He takes the first $30,000 and he buys a standard 4-week treasury bill. On week 2, he takes the second chunk and he buys another 4-week treasury bill. He does this again on week 3 and again on week 4. Now pay very close attention to what happens on week 5. On week 5, that very first T-bill you bought mathematically matures. Uncle Sam unlocks the vault and exactly $30,000 plus your guaranteed interest magically appears in your available cash balance. And then week 6, the second bill matures. Another $30,000 drops into your lap. Do you see the architecture? You have successfully tricked the matrix. You are earning the high state tax-free yield of a government bond, but you have manufactured a system where you are never more than 7 days away from accessing $30,000 of pure liquid cash. If your roof caves in on a Tuesday, you simply wait a few days, take the cash from the maturing bill, and pay the roofer. You never sell at a loss. You never panic. But Gray Guy is looking at me right now exhausted. Stewie, he says, I am 55 years old. I have a demanding job. I have high blood pressure. I do not have the time or the energy to log into a brokerage account every single week for the rest of my life to manually buy treasury bills. And this, my friends, is where we deploy the ultimate sniper hack, the cheat code that Wall Street desperately hopes you never find out about. It is called the auto roll feature. When you buy a treasury bill through a modern brokerage, There is a tiny, unassuming checkbox on the order screen. It simply says Auto Roll. If you click that tiny box, you are automating your financial independence. Here is what it does. When your 4-week bill matures and drops that $30,000 into your account, the algorithm looks to see if you withdrew the money to fix your roof. If the money is still sitting there, the broker automatically takes it and reinvests it into a brand new 4-week T-bill. For zero fees, without you lifting a single finger. You build the ladder exactly one time. You check the auto roll box 4 times, and then you walk away. You go play golf. You go travel. You have just created a closed-loop, self-sustaining financial ecosystem. The Treasury Department deposits your yield, your broker reinvests the principal, and your cash shield grows silently in the background, fully protected from state taxes and completely immune to the sequence of returns risk we talked about in the last video. Meanwhile, your neighbor is still sitting at Bank of America, earning his $10 sandwich allowance, terrified of inflation, and paying full state taxes on his pathetic yield. This is the difference between a consumer and an owner. A consumer begs the bank for a decent interest rate. An owner bypasses the bank, builds a mechanical ladder, and forces the government to pay them directly. You have now officially secured bucket number 1. Your cash shield is bulletproof. The stock market can drop 30% tomorrow, and you will not even blink, because your next 2 years of groceries and property taxes are rolling continuously in a state tax-free federal loop. But a shield only keeps you from dying. A shield does not win the war. If we want to build true generational wealth, if we want to completely replace your paycheck so you can finally retire, we need to talk about bucket number 2. We need to talk about the engine. I want you to imagine the look on Chad, the banker's face, tomorrow morning. You log into your traditional banking app. You look at that 0.01% interest rate one last time, and then you initiate an electronic wire transfer for your entire $120,000 cash shield, moving it out of their vault and into your new brokerage account to build your treasury ladder. The moment you click confirm, a red alarm goes off on Wall Street. Suddenly, you are no longer just a nameless, faceless account number. Suddenly, you are a valued client. The phone rings. It is the branch manager. He is sweating. He sees that his free supply of your capital is walking out the door. He panics. He says, "Wait, gray guy, don't leave. Because you have been such a loyal customer for 20 years, I am authorized to offer you a special, promotional, premium interest rate of 2%. 2%. After paying you pennies for 2 decades, he offers you 2%, while he is still lending that exact same money to the government for 5. You look at the phone, you smile, you tell Chad to enjoy his $10 sandwich allowance, and you hang up. That click? That is the exact sound of a human being transforming from a consumer into an owner. Let's review the battlefield. You have officially reclaimed your survival money. You bypassed the banking cartel. You built a self-sustaining, auto-rolling treasury ladder that prints liquid cash every single month. And you legally blocked your state politicians from taxing a single penny of your yield. More importantly, you have just mathematically neutralized the sequence of returns risk we talked about in our last briefing. Let's say next year the macroeconomic bubble pops. The S&P 500 drops 30% in a month. Panic hits the streets. The talking heads on CNBC are screaming that the sky is falling. Chad, the advisor, is hiding under his mahogany desk. But you are a sniper. You do not panic. You don't even log into your stock portfolio, because you know that for the next 24 to 36 months, your baseline living expenses, your groceries, your property taxes, and your Medicare premiums are completely covered by the mechanical perfection of bucket number 1. Your cash shield will absorb every single bullet of that recession, while your stock market investments are given the exact amount of time they need to recover. You have achieved absolute financial invincibility against the short-term chaos of Wall Street. But listen to me very carefully. Do not celebrate yet. Do not pop the champagne. A shield is defensive armor. It stops you from bleeding to death. But nobody has ever won a war just by hiding behind a shield. To actually win the game, to completely replace your paycheck, fire your boss, and build true generational wealth, You need bucket number 2. You need the engine. While the shield protects your cash from the stock market, the engine uses the stock market to violently attack inflation. We are talking about yield optimization. We are talking about high-quality dividends, cash-flowing assets, and the exact equities you need to generate a passive salary while you sleep, without ever having to chop down the apple tree. In our next classified briefing, we are opening up bucket number 2. I am going to show you exactly how to build the engine. You do not want to miss it. Here is your mission for today. I want you to perform a brutal audit of your own life. Open your banking app right now. Find your exact annual percentage yield, or APY. I want you to go down to the comments and type it out for the world to see. Let's build a public wall of shame for these massive banks. Show me the 0.01s. And if you are finally ready to stop being a donor to Wall Street, if you are ready to build the ladder and take your money back, I want you to type the words "I am the bank" in the comments below. Let the algorithm see how big the resistance is getting. This channel gives you the blueprints, but a blueprint is just a piece of paper if you refuse to build the system. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the blueprint for the engine. Stop playing the victim. Start playing the sniper. I'm Blue Stewie. Stay liquid, stay dangerous. Class dismissed.